Hi everyone, welcome to this video where I'm going to be showing you today how we make this pretty rose. Let me show you on here. Okay, so it's really pretty. If you can hear the fan going, it's because I'm hot. I can't cope, it's too hot in the UK at the minute. So that's the rose I'm going to be showing you how to do today, the easiest possible way ever, okay? Because they are a little bit more fiddlier than the normal ones. So get your florist wire. You're going to want to make something similar to this. So bend it into two, leave a bit of a fatter loop at the top, and then to stabilise it so it's a little bit more easier to hold, you need to then twist it all the way, well, to about there, okay? Then you're going to get your foil and then you're going to make something a little bit similar to what I've made here. Okay, so we're aiming for something like this. And what this does is, because the rose in the centre is not like a normal flower, which this is the normal flowers with the stamens. A rose obviously is continuous, so it starts in a bud and then opens up slowly. So obviously you've got to start with the bud bit, which this is. I bet there's loads of other, you can get little pieces as well online that you can make, but I like to just make my own, it's cheaper. So just build your own. You can add glue if you want to, if it's not sticking. So build your base. The bottom of the base there near my thumbnail there needs to be thicker, and then it needs to taper up so it comes to a little slight point. It doesn't have to be super neat, you're covering it up anyway, okay? So you don't have to be a sculpting artist to do this bit. Okay, so this is the bit that takes the time. Okay, so we're getting there a little bit now. Okay, so I'm just work on that until you get a tighter bit, and then secure it then with a little bit of glue at the bottom. Okay, so then you end up with this. Okay, so I do my roses a little bit different to what you've seen, whether you've watched them on the internet already. So your first layer, so put your little stick to one side. You'll need your sponge board and your pokey tool. You need to shape the petals a little bit first before you put the first layer on. So give them a bit of a stretch and a pull like I've showed you before. And whether you want to crinkle these a little bit like that, or whether you want to twist them a little bit, I think just twisting a little bit, and sometimes you'll need to round them over as well, which I'll go through in a minute, but just twisting to just break the petal edges up a little bit do look more realistic. Okay, so let's open that first layer. So let's see whether that need to go a little bit more stretched. So make your hole as we normally do in the centre, and then thread it through, and then it will meet the bottom as so. And then what you're going to do is you're going to aim to cover this foiled piece now. Okay, so your first little bit, just pop on the side of your foil there, and then grab your first petal and then just fold it in so it grabs. Okay, and you're going to do this all the way around. So lift. Don't worry about the top yet, we'll finish that off in a minute. Again, a little bit of glue, tap hold, again, a little bit of glue, and the last one. Okay, so now it should semi meet the top. If there's any flappy edges like that, for now, keep them in more of a bud. See, we've got a little flappy edge there. So I'm just going to glue that down a little bit more flatter, just so we've got more of a bud shape. Okay, now here you can still see the foil. Okay, so no problem, we're going to pull back a little bit now, and then we're going to be working on the top bit. So a little bit of glue, get your pokey tool, and then layer that first bit. I tell you what's better than the pokey tool for this, if I can find out where I've put it, is one of these, because it'll cause less damage to the petals actually. So again, you're working on to cover that edge up now on the top. So there you go, just lie it on, flatten it over, and again put a little bit of glue on, and then a little bit in there. You still want it to look like it's opening up a little bit. So what I mean is, you don't want it all to meet into one perfect point. You want some opening a little bit here, because obviously that's where the bud will start to open up. Okay, so right, okay, so let's go on to the next one now. So put that one there. So the next one again is this size. I'll talk about the die in a minute. Just keep, I don't count the layers, I just keep on putting them on until I think the rose looks okay. So on the next one, pull and pinch a bit, give it a bit of a twist and a pull on the ends, just so you're giving them a little bit more texture on the ends so the petal isn't too flat. Then again, find your centre, and then again same, push up till it meets the bottom. Okay, and then we're going to be doing the same thing again. So, but we're not going to be gluing up to this bit now, that bit's finished, so we're going to be using just half of the bud. So pop a little bit of glue there, and then you get the next layer, and then just hold it on. Okay, again, next one, bit of glue halfway up, hold it on. I hope Bubba's waking up again. And just keep working your way around until you've got no more petals. Okay, now I did tell you that sometimes you can need to round these petals off, so get your little pokey tool, and all I do is just rub it around like that, and it creates a curl. But to be fair, you don't need to do a lot of that, because you've broken some of these up, so it makes it look more rose-like, because we've done that twisting at the beginning. Okay, so let's carry on now. So next layer, same size, exactly the same size again. So how I normally do it is just fold it up like that, pinch and pull to stretch it slightly, and then again you're distressing the ends, and then this will disguise how some people then roll it. I find the rolling a little bit more challenging. I can do it, but it's just fiddly work that doesn't need to be done. Okay, so open your petal up, find the middle again, pop your hole in we go again. Exactly the same thing. Don't forget as well to make, you know how I showed you to do the flowers, you don't want all the petals lying up onto each other, so you're not going to be lining up each rose bit exactly on top of each other like that, look, okay, because it's never going to look nice. What you're going to have to be doing on each layer is try and maneuver the layers, so instead of them being underneath each other, they come out like that, okay, and that is the same rule of thumb for each layer. So again, halfway up, stretch a little bit and just place. Let the glue take, move on to your next one. Glue down halfway, pull and stick. Again, move that out of the way. You're gluing straight onto the petals now, onto the other base petals. So at first you'll work onto the foil, and then as the foil gets covered up, then obviously you're working petal on petal then. Next one. So lift and place. Okay, and that's the middle of the bud. Okay, still going to be on the same size still. So again, pinch and pull. Get the ends a little bit twisting, no rhyme or reason, whichever way you like, towards you, the other way, doesn't matter. Okay, open it up, give the middle a bit of a stretch, again, hole in the middle. Exactly the same thing again. Try and remember that you're going in between the petals. Okay, so those were our last petals, those two. Okay, so this petal then will then show there. So again, open it up, halfway down the petal, stretch, lift and pull out like that. Next one. I think Bob is sitting on my glue gun lead. Again. Okay. So, same size again. Roses take a lot more layers. More of the smaller medium size than the large, really. Right, give it a twist. You don't need a specific make of flower die. You can do, I'll explain the die in a minute, as long as you've got enough room and that the petals don't cut down too far, which I'll show you in a moment. So it'll make your life a bit more difficult. So again, make your hole. And push through to the bottom. Exactly the same again, but remember, try and find where you're going. It gets harder in a rose because there's so many layers. So again, halfway down, you're still working halfway down at the moment, and the more layers you put on the rose, the lower down you get. So at the beginning on the foil, we were quite working on the middle of the foil and the top of the foil. Then until now, we work on half of the bud. So in other words, your glue gun is going straight on half of the flower. You're not working up high and you're not working low, still half. Okay, so let's get the glue strings out of the way, because you know me, I cannot stand them. So, right then, let me see, one more of the same size and then we'll go on to the larger size. So on this one, I want you to pull a little bit more, so you're making the flower a little bit longer, okay? You can also get flower mould when you see other people's roses on YouTube, and they do literally look like real. A lot of these people use flower moulds, so like these resin moulds where you can put the petal over them, you know, like I do the leaf. They do the same with petals, and that can make a flower look even more real. These flower makers are really gifted. I don't go that far. Right then, again, halfway. I would say a little bit lower than halfway. On the last one I showed you, it was definitely halfway. On this one, you're talking a couple of mils below what we were working on before. So each layer now that we add will be going about a mil difference, lower and lower with the glue. Okay, so now we go on to the larger. Same principle. All look like that. Don't need to stretch the petals this way yet, so you can probably do with a little bit wider. Okay, and then twist them again. It's ever so warm in the UK. Well, I wouldn't say like you probably get weather loads hotter than I do, but for a country that's just used to rain, when the temperature goes up a little bit, I can't cope. I'm one of them hot people. Right then, okay, so now we're going to be working, let me try and twist it. So before, let me do that, before we were working halfway, you can see now as the flower's evolving a little bit, we're coming further and further down. So again, a couple of mils lower, okay. And you'll proper start to see the shape coming now that we're adding the larger leaves. Okay. Glue strings, there we go. Right then, next layer. Again, we're not going to be stretching yet. We're just going to be making them more, a little bit more wider if you can. Not too vigorous, otherwise you will tear. Twist. And then open up again. Same again. Up we go. Now you can see now that because that was our first layer, we can see where we're going. So we're going to aim now for this next petal to fit there. So then hold it with your thumb so it don't move, and come up and keep your thumb where it was, and then it keeps your petals where you want them. Okay, get those glue strings off. So that's looking really pretty at the moment, but we're not finished. More layers, people, are needed. So here we go again, another large size again. We're still not stretching out yet. Probably are a little bit. We wasn't at all on the first two larger ones, but on this one, just a little bit of both. A little bit of stretching at the top wide and a little bit there. Not too bad. And then give it a good squeeze. So I turn and really pinch with my nail. Turn and hold. Okay, twist and real pinch, and then open it up. Bubba, leave your brother alone. Up we go again. Now you can see where those layers were again. Remember me saying eventually you're going to get to a bit where they won't show. So on this one, what you're going to have to do is, as you pop the glue on, now you're working near enough on the flat now, is slightly pull out. I've showed you this on other flowers as well. So let me show you. So we're working now on that area there. So pop your glue there, okay? And then as you pull this petal out, slightly stretch it and then hold it in place like that. So as the glue grabs, it won't shrink back, okay? So again, open it up, bit of glue, pull it slightly, hold it in place. There you go. And then you're working all the way around until you've done all of your layers. Okay, now again, I'm going to go on another layer, and on this one we're going to start to then pull the length out a little bit more. Okay, so you can see what we're doing now, because like I've said before, if you keep working on the same size, they are going to disappear naturally, because they all in the end lie underneath each other. So let's do some twisting. And then a hole in the middle. Find out where you want the petals to show, then push up, hold with your thumb, and then work out where you want them, and then start gluing again. So you're pulling and you're holding. If you let go too soon, the glue won't take and it will spring back. So again, open it up, glue, pull and hold. This is the last one now. Like I say, you add as many layers as you think necessary. I think the more layers a rose has, the better it looks. But it depends on how thick the Foamiran is that you're working with as well. Just let me get a few seconds just to get the glue strings off, because they will drive me nuts. Okay, so what you could do is roll it all up in your fingers like that, so it all grabs, and then bit by bit then you can work on pulling each bit out where you want it. So that is your rose. Okay, I always as well, like on all of my other flowers, even though there's no stamens to come loose, I don't want the layers just part, not that there will because there's glue on them anyway, but I like to just pop a little bit of glue there, and when that's set, snip it off with your snippers, and then you've got your roses. Okay, so I really hope you liked this rose video. I hope it was a nice easy one for you to follow. Let me know if you do make any of your own. Let me know if it was easy for you to follow, and I'll see you in my next video. Oh, hang on, I was going to show you the dies, wasn't I, before I rush off. Right then, these are the dies I used for today's. So I like them because on some dies, let me show you on these, this is a Crafter's Companion one, the die where it cuts goes right the way down near enough to the centre. So any die that you pick, if it goes all the way around, they're more difficult to work with. One, because you can't put stamens in because they won't, there's no room to give. Okay, now this is mainly to work with roses anyway, but I still find that they fall apart. So what I tend to like to work with is these ones, because it gives you more of a surface there for stamens. In other words, you can put your hole in, it doesn't tear, and if it does tear, you've got a little bit of leeway. Same with the rose as well, you've got more stretch you give, where the more, like I showed you on that other one, the more likely they are to tear. So right then, I think that's it. I'll link everything below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye everybody.